Hey, this is a new segment I'm doing where I watch some video and I give you my candid reaction on it. This is a Gillette commercial, one from 1989 versus one from 2019. Let's see what we got. Gillette, best a man can get.
You've come so far. We know how to make the most of who you are.
Just a bunch of visuals of men doing sports and connecting with their kids and shaving and doing cool stuff, right? Being dads, being athletes, hugging and kissing beautiful women, right?
It's plain to see.
See these guys, you know, they're all in white shirts.
All we have to give for all a man can be.
Just keeps rotating through.
Where the race is run.
Finance in Wall Street, athletes running track. It's all these examples of what we think are really good masculine strength, right?
Best a man can get.
Now, that was 1989. Now we got this new one.
Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
There's this concept of toxic masculinity which is out there, and I think it's a legitimate concept as far as thinking about what we do and don't want, but I don't like to think of it specifically for men. I really love to break this down, and I like to think of all of us having the need for the masculine and the feminine. In the French language, the word for bridge is masculine, and in German, it is feminine. And so when the Germans talk about a bridge and they describe it in elegant terms that we connect typically to women. And when the French describe a bridge, they describe it in strong, direct lines and in terms that we typically associate with men. So when we decide that something is male dominant, female dominant, it changes the way we perceive how we take the information in. And so when we say toxic masculinity, I feel like a lot of it points directly at men and their bad behavior. And there is bad behavior among men, for sure there is. We call it toxic masculinity. I don't like to call it that. I just like to call it bad behavior, because masculinity in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's a needed thing. And we all need it, men and women, just as men need feminine energy, right? We need both. And this is something that this is touching on. I'm curious to see where it goes, but right now I feel like they're just kind of saying, hey man, you know, my typical masculinity that we show is bad, and the Me Too movement is a result of all this bad masculine stuff, but it's deeper than that. And I'm not sure that commercials are going to hit the nuances that I want to see, but let's keep watching.
Who's the daddy? What I actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But something finally changed.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
But she says
And there will be no going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Smile, sweetie.
I love that, actually. So they go right to it, they express it. I'm not sure this is a shaving commercial so much as a political stance. And I like the fact that they say we need to hold men accountable. That is the truth, right? We want to hold men accountable. We want to hold women accountable. We want to hold our people accountable, right? And we don't want to be standing there saying boys will be boys when it is something that is detrimental to those around us. We want to be able to say, hey man, I got you. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to make sure you're safe with me. That's true masculinity. And they're kind of getting into this. The Me Too movement was a powerful thing. It really addressed a chronic I would say, epidemic among how, really around how we treat the women in our world. We have gotten way better in so many ways historically from where things were years ago to now. It's a tough balance though, right? We as humans swing to extremes. So we don't want to move to an extreme where men become bad. And that's what I worry about this is, are we able to say that good, strong men are still okay? And that we can be powerful and be men and be good? And they show an image of a man who is kind of putting down some woman in a boardroom. She's the only woman in a boardroom just a second ago. And it's a tough one because that's a real thing that happens. It really, truly happens. But I don't like the idea of a businessman becoming a trigger for everyone to say that's toxic masculinity, a man leading a boardroom, being a director. That is not the nature of it. It's just one representation of where these types of things happen.
Oh, sweetie.
Tricky commercial.
To say the right thing, to act the right way.
Bro, not cool, not cool.
Some already are. In ways big
Yo, men.
and small.
I am strong.
But some is not enough.
It's not how we treat each other, okay? Okay.
Because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
Some real beautiful images of men engaging with children, teaching them good behavior, stopping men from catcalling and getting aggressive with women. A lot of that in this video. And they say some men are doing well, but we need more. And I love the emphasis of the message. I love the drive for it. And I also feel that we can do better for men too in how we represent them. I don't think it's some men that are good. I think most men are striving to be good, just as most women are. I think there's a miscommunication sometimes in how we connect because we get so caught up in our own worlds. And I think that this, as good and intentionally thoughtful as it is, and the ability to say, hey man, we can do better, I think it actually is something that drags us down. It's saying most men are toxic. Some are good. Let's do better, guys. And that's a defeating kind of way of coming at a man and saying, hey man, you need to do better. It diminishes us. It makes us feel like, man, we are not enough. That's honestly how I take it. I do not by any means say that we are allowed to act poorly. I just think I would love to see us break down this division of male and female, who's doing what, and just say, can we be kind to each other? Can we move beyond gender, beyond all the definitions that we give each other, and can we just say, let's be good. Let's be good to each other. Let's drop these super defined things and let's show up, treat each other with care, treat each other in a way that allows us to feel safe, allows us to feel elevated, allows us to feel excited. That's what they're trying to say, but they're doing it in a kind of a man-bashing way, frankly, and I don't like it. But it's a very tough topic, and I don't know, I don't condemn Gillette for doing it. I think it's a great thing to take on. I think they did a good effort at it. I just, I think it's one of those things that when we look at a video like this, we can learn from it. It's powerful. I love that marketing teams are taking on a political issue and saying, let's go after it. What I struggle with, particularly in marketing, is that marketing is all about niching down. It is all about getting super, super defined so that you can attract a specific audience. And issues like this do not benefit from going to an extreme, finite, concrete definition. They benefit most from moving back and looking at it in an emotional, nuanced level and saying, hey, you know what? There are issues here. And there are people doing things that are wrong. And there are women that are unsafe because of the behavior that we allow. And we need to change that. And there are also many, many men who are striving their best to learn, just as there are many, many women striving their best. And can we take a look at it in that way and figure out how to make that even better? I love to come at things from a place of strength and building on the strength, because that will exponentially increase your growth. Versus if you come at it and say, you're a toxic man, you got to shed these things because you're broken, it becomes very limiting. It becomes very defeating. So the approach, I don't agree with. The message, on point. The best a man can get. The next video coming up, stick around because it's another great one. Lots of shaming involved. It is a fat shaming video that I watch, a commercial. It's astonishing. Stick around. I'd love to hear your comments on this particularly, toxic masculinity, and maybe you want to see what happens with fat shaming. There's a lot of nuances and things that overlap here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm James Burnham. Like, subscribe, follow.